depressing things in life are when like a dog barks at you, or when a baby cries and you pick it up. It makes me feel bad about myself, and like I feel like they know something I don't. Like I'm not trustworthy or something. I hate that.
Yeah. So yeah, if I was to come back here, like my wife Shannon, who you met briefly, she really wants to try and find a place up by the lake.
Me too.
So
I'm very like
probably like
urban centric, and Nick would go to Rock Hill. You would go like up to, you would go way out.
I think that's probably where we'll land. We'll probably like, it depends on what the dynamic ends up being. Like I don't know, like this could all end like at any point, which we hope it doesn't.
I don't see it happening. I just don't see that happening. Do you remember this?
Right, but like next month there will be a different cover on that magazine, so we're trying to do everything.
Yeah, but then everybody will be walking around on the streets with that on.
Hopefully, that's the goal. But I think that we'll probably we're gonna have to pick one or the other to make the home like where we own, or sell and rent in both places. But that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, I don't think. But she really likes the lake, mainly because she knows that her parents would like to visit us more.
Yeah.
Which we're not gonna have a problem with them visiting us anyway. But we like the lake. My mom's building a house. Basically her dream house that she's been working for her whole life up there now.
Yeah.
It's not on the lake, but it's like a block away from the lake.
So you'd have both sides of the family.
Right. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, I would have. But her parents would still stay in Pittsburgh.
Oh, they'd come to visit.
They would come and visit.
Makes sense. They'd temporarily be here.
It would gives them a reason to.
Yeah.
It'll give her dad a reason to retire, which he's been saying since I met him 8 or 9 years ago now, that he was retiring in 5 years. And he's still saying that now. So like 5 years from now, like he's going to retire.
The exact same thing.
But he owns his own business too, and he loves what he does. So why?
Yeah, keep it going.
Why?
I have a lot of respect for people that can't stop working. I think it's cool when you found something that you enjoy doing, that you're not just like watching the clock, like when do we get out of this hellhole, you know? I think that's really cool.
Right. So which kind of brings me to like what you're doing now.
Yeah, it has been a crazy several months. What, May, June? It's been like 3 months, maybe 4. It's been nuts. It's been really fun. It's just been, I don't know. I feel completely different than I did this time last year. I was working full time as a marketing director at a software company. Really cool company, cool opportunity, but I just couldn't get myself to get emotionally invested in it, and it was just kind of wearing on me every day. And I think when you know something is cool and you know you don't like it, you are the wrong fit. Like you're the one that's out of place.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with the company. I just didn't fit. So I had reached out to Ted. He was still at the Observer. He had just launched Charlotte 5, and I needed a creative outlet to like keep myself going every day. I was so depressed being at work. And we connected and I started writing there, and then when he quit his job, he called me up the night that he quit and was like, hey, I'm gonna go out on my own and do something else. I'm gonna call it Charlotte Agenda. Will you come with me? And I was like, oh my God, yes, let's do this. So we made the plan for me to start slowly and part-time and just kind of build up to it. But the audience reception was huge. The demand was there, and so I actually quit my full-time job 3 weeks into Agenda's existence, and I came over totally full-time in May. It's been nuts.
That's so awesome.
It's been fun.
It's so awesome.
It's been really fun.
I enjoyed reading his post today about
it was awesome.
I think it was like 11 things that you should know about entrepreneurship. I don't remember the exact title, but my favorite part was when he talked about you and writing the newsletter, like, oh, I gotta know how to write a newsletter, like, leave me alone. Like, I'm sure that Jerry and Chris can tell you that I am that person to them all the time.
Well, it's hard to let go of something that is like your little baby, but it's a huge sign of your growth as a leader and your company's growth, obviously, when you can start to let things go to other people, because otherwise it's going to be limited to your maximum capacity, which is limited, and I mean, you're going to go down in flames if you hold tight to everything. You got to let it go.
Absolutely.
And let other people
like
help out.
without Jerry, shipping every shirt himself until we figure out how we can make that more streamlined.
That's a brutal job to ask.
Yeah, we can't. Managing the stock inventory, like he does a lot of things that, one, would look weird coming from Pittsburgh, but would have saved tax dollars for everyone that's purchasing. But I mean, we're still kind of on the fence about, like, I don't really even know where those tax dollars go. So, like, do I care that they get the tax dollars? Obviously, I want to put back into the community, but in the right way, because I don't always agree with the way things are taxed. But and in Pittsburgh, one, you'd be out of state for most of the people, so they wouldn't pay taxes on it anyway. And if you were in state and you lived in Pittsburgh and happened to be from Charlotte like me, which I've never met anyone that lives there that's from Charlotte, but
never?
No. I've met a lot of people that love Charlotte visiting.
Why do they come here though? Like on business? Because people don't come to Charlotte for tourism. I don't feel like. What would bring them here?
You know, everyone seems to know someone in Charlotte, and it wasn't until I lived in Pittsburgh that I realized that, like, somebody ends up here that they know, and then they go and visit their friend that lives here, because, like,
there are a lot
there
of
are so many transplants. Like when I was growing up, like there was like 10 of us that were born here, and the other 390 in my class were like transplants because their parents got transferred here. So it was I think it's very much less, or it's a lot less rare, is the proper way to say that, for kids to be from here now. But when I was in school, like, no one was from here. Like one of my friends growing up was like into hockey, and I couldn't understand that at all. I'm like, why do you like that? That sucks. Like,
were they from?
They were from. His parents were from Maryland.
That'll do it.
Which makes, and then now I'm in Pittsburgh, and like I know so much about hockey because the Penguins are there, and like they care about the Penguins and the Steelers, and now the Pirates are actually doing well. So like their fandom in Pittsburgh is, for their city, is astounding.
Do you find yourself emotionally invested in that city? Like,
I'm definitely emotionally invested in that. Not like here, but definitely like there's an attachment there. Like my wife is from there, her whole family is from there, and because everyone is so proud to be from there, like it rubs off. Like I would definitely be back to Pittsburgh. Like even if we lived here 100% of the time, like her parents would be there, but like I'm a fan of Pittsburgh. It's a cool city. It's just different than here. Like Charlotte's a lot younger. It's a lot more forward thinking than, I mean, but that's not to say Pittsburgh doesn't have that side of it, because they do. There's definitely a young crowd there, but I don't know, like Pittsburgh's cool. Not as cool as Charlotte, but it's cool.
You better say that.
Like, so I always kind of wondered why we didn't, like, there was never this sense of camaraderie for the city or whatever, and I just wanted to try, and I've always wanted to try and put something together that would be like, this is for everybody, not just people that are from here, but like the new people, because I think that's the biggest like missing piece, is that the new people don't feel, like the transplants don't feel connected to the people that are from here, and then the people that are from here don't feel connected to the transplants, and it's like there's this huge divide, and then like all the, like how many different bars are there? Buffalo bars like everywhere here, which I don't understand, and so.
That's funny though, because I can't even remember. We have an event on our planner. I should know what it is coming up in the next week or so, where the topic of conversation is how do you engage newcomers in the city? Like how do you get these people who are transient or coming for 2 to 4 years and get them to feel like they're a part of the city? I can't remember who's hosting that. I need to look at it, because I think that's an interesting topic, because I came in thinking I was transient. I was signing year-long leases because I thought I'd bounce eventually. I didn't really want to be here. I thought Charlotte was a stopping point to something else. I don't necessarily know what that was. But I started to meet people. I started to feel connected. I started to kind of put down roots slowly over the course of, I guess, the last 4 years. So I think conversations like that are pivotal to getting a real community feel and getting people to settle and stay and maybe reconsider seeing it as a stopping point to something else. Because there's more and more that the city has to offer every day. And I don't know if I've changed personally a lot over the last 4 years, or if Charlotte's changed a whole lot. And I think it's a combination of both.
I can tell you that when one, I never intended to leave, but when I left 10 years ago, it was not like it is now. Like there's I don't know what happened, what changed, or if it was I think it was a gradual thing. But there's a lot more pride for wanting to be here than there was. Like it was always kind of like, we're here.
Right. But
like
now,
if the Panthers win,
know.
like that's cool.
Yeah.
But if they don't, like that's cool too.
See,
like,
now
I
it
don't
feels like
care.
the complete opposite. And I almost think we're on the edge of going too far with the constant, like, everything about Charlotte's great and everything's wonderful. And I think that's great. And I love that we're really excited about the city right now and in general. But I don't want it to cloud having a critical eye on things that are not so great. And I also don't want to feel like overly desperate. Like, we want to be the best, like this magazine cover, for example. Like, we're better than everybody. I want us to just have like this calm, cool confidence of like, it's just a cool city and that's it. Like, we don't have anything to prove, you know? And I see a lot of movements, what you guys are doing, and We Live CLT and all this stuff merging together to create that cool confidence, but there's so much excitement right now that it's just like a lot of yelling and I don't know, everybody's just excited, and I just don't want that to cloud critical judgment of things that still need to be improved.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not improving things and you're not really moving forward, I don't think so. Which, whatever happened to get us to this juncture, I'm glad that it happened. Because, I mean, we wouldn't be here. I don't know if Charlotte Agenda would be here, or maybe it still would. Somebody had to have started it, so maybe Ted would have still.
I think it hit it, but I think timing was critical, though. I don't know that it would have been the same. I don't think that Charlotte Agenda would have been the same product 4 years ago. I think the city was a different place. I think We Love CLT would have been had a different trajectory 4 years ago. I think you guys would have felt different 4 years ago. There was some like unexplainable something going on in Charlotte over the course of the last couple of years that has just been a tipping point for all of these movements that are snowballing together, which is awesome.
I will tell you that 3 years ago, when we started this, it was not like this because no one cared. Like I said, no one cared about. I don't know that no one cared, or we didn't know how to get in front of the right people, but it was a lot harder to get any traction anywhere. So I'm sure that played a role in it. So it's been somewhere in between the last 10 years for sure, but probably 3, like you're saying.
I would love it if somebody could actually figure out what it was that was the trigger for this weird. I mean, I'm sure
think it
that
was
it's
like
an
a bunch of
economic
things.
thing. It's all kinds of stuff. I don't have the answers to it, but I noticed it in just a 5-year time span how different it was, which is cool.
Yeah. So what do you want to accomplish next?
Oh my gosh, what do I want to accomplish
5 years
next?
or
Oh my
like,
gosh.
I don't know. Like, what do you want to see Charlotte turn into? Like, you can answer that question however you feel.
What do I want to see Charlotte turn into? I'm very pro-development in Charlotte, but I want to do it right, obviously. So I don't just want to see us building nothing but big box apartments that are just kind of bland, but I'd like to see some personality in that development. But the reason I'm so pro-development is I feel like it fills in the gaps to make us a more walkable city. So to me, I feel like when I go to really big, like world-class cities, I could walk for miles and miles and miles in any direction and feel comfortable doing it, and it's easy to get around places. But in Charlotte, I just feel like there are some gaps of, I wouldn't walk in that direction necessarily. Not for any reason other than that there's nothing there. But I feel like when you're walking and there's stuff to see and places to stop and grab a drink here and stuff like that, I don't know, that just feels like a bigger, more dynamic city to me. But on the flip side, one of my favorite things about Charlotte is its green space. So there's this weird balance of like, how can you be super pro-development and super pro-green space and balance those two things out and do it really effectively? I'm not the person to figure that out, but that would be my magic city. It would be one that's super filled in and then have big, expansive green spaces. I don't know what that looks like.
They could, that could happen here. I mean, think about the metropolitan area in Charlotte is large. Like, you're not going to be able to walk from, you'll never be able, not in our lifetime anyway, walk from Uptown to Lake Norman.
Right.
Or from Uptown to Rock Hill.
Too expensive. But even like this stretch, for example, like when I say I wouldn't walk somewhere, it's not a safety thing. It's like an aesthetics thing. Central, it's one of my running routes is right down Central, and it's just not pleasant. It's like it's loud and it doesn't look great, and it's not the most pleasant route. But I think as they build stuff up and we have some ground level retail, it's just going to totally change that path from the 2 miles from here into Uptown. And then suddenly I'm like, okay, 2 miles is a walkable, rideable, runnable distance. Now I have this direct path into Uptown. Whereas right now it's kind of like, it's not like the prettiest route that I really want to be going down at the moment. But now we're redoing it and things are building up, so.
Yeah, we were sitting in the traffic.
Yeah,
I was
it's
starting to
right
like,
now.
I was like, well, I could email her, but I don't know if she would email. Like, I hate being late for things like this.
You guys were like right on time.
We were lucky. We were in that traffic. And Jerry lost his keys for like 10 minutes at his house.
Just wait, if you get stuck at the train too, it just shuts this whole neighborhood down.
Whatever they're doing down there, I guess, is splitting into like one lane or merging them all. I don't know. We were sitting there for a while.
It's a mess.
Yeah, but that's the one constant that Charlotte has had my entire life. Construction everywhere.
Really?
Constantly.
See, because I'm waiting for a breaking point. I just don't see it
it's not
happening.
gonna-
And
well,
whenever,
it's growing too fast.
yeah,
Still, like, it's always been pretty much as long as I can remember. They're like, Charlotte's one of the fastest growing cities in America, and like for 30 years. Like, so.
for a long time, yeah. Well, we have a lot of room to grow. You know, like there's just a lot of still open space further, like within the 485 donut, if you will. There's just tons of room to fill all of that in. So I think we're going to maintain that title of fastest growing until all of that fills in and there's nowhere else to go.
Right.
It's
I
just
agree with you.
never ending. I just think it's a good thing. But I also really like big cities. I really like loud stuff. I like being in the middle of the action. I live here because I want to be in the middle of Plaza Midwood. That was a choice for me. And I think that's just a personality thing. For people that don't like that, they're obviously going to be opposed to all this development because they'd rather have this just be an empty stretch until you get to Uptown, or you know what I mean? Or
Yeah. I think they should move out to the suburbs further out. I mean, there's plenty of space. Like, if you want space, like, so I hate to keep comparing Charlotte to Pittsburgh because they're two totally different kind of atmospheres, but in that respect, like, you have to go so far from downtown Pittsburgh to get anywhere that has any space. Like, there's nowhere for them to develop. Like, the houses look, and a lot of the houses have been there since the early 1900s, and they're like this far apart from one another, and they're row houses, and like there's nowhere to go. So like I think that there's a healthy amount of space that we could fill up without damaging the ability to still have as much space as you want, like 10 minutes that way instead of like 45 minutes that way.
Yeah, you're right, because going 10 minutes away from the city in any direction is like a completely different world. From right here to 10 minutes in pretty much any direction, you feel like you're in a totally different place. It changes really quickly. Even actually, the place we're looking at in Cherry, I feel like I'm in a different world. We have like a little fenced backyard, and it's quiet, and there's no train coming by, and that is right, literally across the street from the Metropolitan and all of that. So there are little pockets of those quiet streets everywhere.
How long they'll stay that way.
I know.
So your mornings are wake up, do the newsletter, and then like how much of your time is spent like writing articles or doing
so
like, all of that kind of stuff. Like, that kind of stuff like really intrigues me because one, we always talk about like where do you get all of the content? Like every day it's like a smorgasbord of content that's like who's thinking of all of this stuff, and like how many people, I know you have more than, it's just obviously more than just you and Ted, but like how does that all go down?
It's cool. So the writers come up with their own topics. They pitch them to Ted right now, and he'll give them a red light, green light if he thinks it's a topic that'll work, and then they just run with it. We come up with our own stuff, but it's hit a cool point now where people are pitching stuff to me. So I'll get traditional PR pitches, but then I'll also just get readers writing in being like, hey, some cool thing is going on and you should check it out. So I get a lot of leads that way. And then it's just stuff that I kind of encounter in my life. And that's what's been fun about it is like I look at Charlotte through new eyes now because I'm exploring, because I feel like that's my job. Well, that is my job, is to explore and find stuff to share with other people. So I feel like I could find a story in anything, you know what I mean? Because Ted has been asking this question since we started. He's like, do you think the well will ever dry up? Like, what if we run out of stuff to do? And I said, we'll never run out of stuff to do because there's always more people to meet and there's always somebody else's story to tell and there's always a new business opening. Like, that's never going to go away. There will always be that stuff there. But you have to look at it in that exploratory way, or otherwise you just get bored with it. And because I sometimes have to catch myself because I'll think of a story and then I'll brush it off and say everybody already knows that, or that's already been covered, or that's an old deal. But what I found is every time we publish something, no matter what, at least one person says it's new to them or they've never seen it before and it's a new thing for them to try. So I've started to learn that you can take a different perspective on something or say it again and it's still new to somebody else. Right, little monster? So I don't think we'll ever run out of.
It's kind of like if you think of, I try and use that same mind frame with what we're doing. Like, I forget, I was listening, it might have even been Jason Yarbrough said it or someone, like, but when you think about Twitter, like how much information goes out on Twitter and then goes away within like 15 minutes and then nobody ever sees it unless they, like, I don't know what percentage of people like go and check out someone's Twitter feed, like you might, what you might do for like Instagram, like I'll find like if somebody likes something that we've done or something and they look interesting, like I'll go check out their entire feed. But, and I might do that for like the first 4 or 5 tweets of a person that like responds to it, but I'm not like reading all of their stuff. So like even the same like tweets throughout the day, just worded differently, go a lot further than, we don't do this, but we should. Go a lot further. So it's kind of like the same thing. Like you're just reaching a new audience every time. It's new to somebody every time. And your audience, especially for Charlotte Agenda, is growing every month. So like, I feel like that our newsletter only goes out once a week. And I find myself like, oh, what am I going to write about this week? And I usually just try and write about like what went on during the week. There's usually enough stuff. Like something bad has happened to us in that week, pretty much every week that I can write about, which I feel like people like to hear about that part of it, which is super frustrating for us. But like, so I try and do that, but I'm writing the newsletters, and every week, like, depending on what's happened, there's new people that have signed up that this is their first one that they've ever read, which is the same for you guys.
Like you have to consider, you take for granted the fact you're like, oh, everybody knows this or everybody knows me, but like there are some people that don't, well, one, there are tons of people that don't even know we exist yet, but then others, they're like, they don't know who we are, or they don't know about something that we wrote about 6 weeks ago because they just signed up yesterday. But you know what I mean? So it's always new.
So who decides like what to, like, I guess you guys have like a plan of like what needs to get done, like, and like who organizes everything?
In terms of like the publication of everything or the whole business?
Like so like.
Ted is the business side of everything. So in terms of like the monetization and the sale of ad packages and all that, that's all a hat that Ted wears, and he's diving into that really aggressively this summer. So we have all of the ad, when I say we, Ted laid out all of our ad packages. He has his list of prospects of who he'll be going towards. So the goal for the end of summer and early fall would be to sell out all of 2016. So he'll be going hard on sales stuff. He handles all the business side of like financials, legal stuff, and then I am more on the creative, publication, social media management, story side of everything, which is a really nice balance. In terms of what runs each day, we just keep a running queue of stories that come in from writers. For the most part, they submit on Sunday afternoons. Ted's wife, Lindsay, is awesome. She works with us too, and she takes writer stories, puts them into WordPress so they're formatted. And then from there, we just have this whole queue of stuff that we can pick and choose, and we try to run 7 to 9 of them every day.
Do you have it automated so that it would like?
It is a painfully manual process right now.
Oh,
We could,
can't you automate it within WordPress?
for
I
sure,
think that you
to
can.
publish them. We kind of just don't trust it right now. Like, it's only been 3
Gotcha.
months, and we just don't want to like blindly schedule all the posts out to go and be sound asleep and wake up at 8 and find that none of our stuff went out. Because yeah, we can for sure auto schedule WordPress posts to go. We can schedule out MailChimp to send the newsletter at a certain time. I can schedule all the social too. I could sleep all day if I wanted to, but we just we like feeling like we're up and we're with the audience and we're there and we're kind of creating something. Because it's weird working on the internet because there's a huge disconnect and that you're constantly creating this intangible thing. I find myself constantly kind of craving, I don't know, a hobby where I actually create physical things. Like I like to bake, or I would like to, I don't know, do something where I can create something I can touch, because nothing that I create is physical. So for us, I think being up at the crack of dawn and watching the social feeds and, you know, manually releasing everything gives us that sense of kind of having a product that we're a part of. Versus the automation would be way easier, but I think we would lose a little bit something of the vibe of how it works for us.
I get that.
Yeah.
We schedule our newsletter, or I schedule the newsletter, but then I tediously watch.
Yeah, you
make
sit
sure
there because you want to
I'm
make
like,
sure.
did it go out yet? Like,
Yeah.
Did anyone read it? Now I'm checking the stats of it, like how many people opened it. What's
That
the
is the
click-through
worst thing
rate?
about
Like,
my
yeah.
whole life is the constant check for like, our whole generation is this way, but that constant check for validation of like, okay, I threw this out there, who saw it, who said something about it, who liked it, who didn't. You're kind of always waiting to see that. I don't know anywhere. I'm trying to think of like stuff that we do online that doesn't seek that validation, but it does. Everybody wants to be seen and heard, I guess. So I do kind of, because I'm in that world so much, waiting for feedback, reeling back from bad feedback, hitting highs of positive feedback. It's just a lot of a roller coaster. I do sometimes want to pull back and not be evaluated and not wait for other, see what people thought. It's just, it is what it is. It's the nature of being online a lot. But you just have to remind yourself that online's not totally reality. There are real people that you know in real life, but it's not 100% that. You just have to pull yourself back from it sometimes.
Yeah.
Keeps you sane.
So, do you know how, so like the first newsletter that went out?
Like our
how
first
did
ever?
yeah, like who did it go to? How did you get subscribers to start with?
We ran some social campaigns leading up to the launch of it, and our goal was to get like 2,500 subscriptions or something. And so it was just, we were leveraging my personal Twitter audience, Ted's personal audience, friends, so sharing stuff on already established platforms and encouraging people to follow Agenda across its different platforms, and then also to sign up for the newsletter. So leading into the release of that first day, we had been encouraging people to sign up in advance, and we had also done a Spreadshirt campaign. Is that what it's called, Spreadshirt? Where you do a fundraiser. People get a Charlotte Agenda t-shirt if they sign up in advance. So we did a big push on that. So that was how we built up that initial audience. My name's Katie Levans. I'm the creative director at Charlotte Agenda, and you guys should check it out. You can find us at charlotteagenda.com, sign up for our newsletter, and find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.